Did Arth die instead of?
Yes, Arc dies.
And looks like Ninja Nick gets caught after the Uber, so good job from Hero moving up there and picks off Dougie G as well, so nice Uber.
Trickster also picks off Blinky. So this should be advantage Vector with their better spawns.
Yeah, we'll see if they manage to stream and get the cap. Looks like Arc coming back in after that early death manages to pick off Trickster, and with the help of Solid Snake, Schwan goes down as well. So xensity makes the defense, and looks like the medic deaths were similar enough that the Ubers are even again. Well, I guess we could see Zen pick push off those two picks.
Yeah, as they should. But hopefully they won't overextend as Vector just did before.
So we have the fight going on. Trading going in the favor of Vector, but xensity still has a good position on this point. Ninja Nick getting really low. Blinky goes down. Ninja Nick just needs to back up and survive here. It's worth it for them to lose mid if they keep their medic up, but looks like he kind of got caught by that soldier, but then the soldier jumped away to help his friend, so xensity should take mid, but the Uber advantage heavily in favor of Vector, and the health from the players of xensity on mid is really low, so they could probably just go back in on this, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely would push. Xensity's health is bad, they don't have any buffs, and yeah, I guess they'll just wait for Uber, that's their decision.
Yeah. It could actually be nice to see them move through like sewer or something here, but it doesn't. I mean, we just saw the debt from Xensity's demo, so they should be able to move in pretty easily through any door they please. And Xensity will have to be wary. Probably just look to force their Uber and then peace out and try to, you know, leapfrog their way back into the point. And the Uber does get popped, so that's all Xensity needed here. They're just gonna scatter, and indeed, is that crits on Blinky? Yeah, it is. So he just needs to meet Solid Snake on choke, and they're going to come back in really fast. If Vector balls up on point, that could be bad news. The crits is popped and doesn't actually get any kills.
Wow, Arc hit a meat shot there.
But Zen, you know, coming in with a strong follow-up. I think they did 0 damage with the crits, but just committing together with the entire team, let them throw Vector reeling. Ninja Nick survives again. They're doing the chase. I think he's alone now.
He's probably, yeah, he's gonna live.
Yeah, he got to Mile High. Solid Snake trying to finish the job. Shoots some sticks. He manages to pick the Trickster off his spawn, but Ninja Nick's still safe. Xensity does take a good position on 2 though, so Vector just needs to stop bleeding people, I think, and just get their Uber up, because Ninja Nick been running so much, he actually lost what was a 50% advantage, and now is in a little bit of danger to getting crit on in these next 4 seconds before he gets charged.
Yeah, Xensity, I would have liked to have seen them moved up before capping that fully. But now Vector managed to get their Uber up in time.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they didn't know they had that advantage because Ninja Nick wasn't healing, but at the same time, they should have been ready to just back up after they crit in there. And instead they bled a ton of people, and now Vector should be able to take mid off this pretty solid.
The general rule of crits is you always want to be using it right when you have it. There's almost no situation I can think of that you would have your crits up but not want to use it.
That's pretty much how it is. Even for just 1 kill being really easy, it's often worth it because that can initiate the rest of your push. Now we have Vector making the move onto mid. Zen puts up a half-hearted defense, but their spawns are still coming, so all that they managed to accomplish is they lose a few people and trade for Schwan.
Arc's gonna die.
Yeah, Arc.
Xensity's being really aggressive given that they have a slight Uber disadvantage here. Let's see if they get punished for it.
I think that bleeding of players is going to make them lose 2 here, and Blinky, oh man, dies at 90, so that's should be the round for Vector. I wasn't really sure what Xensity's play there was. I mean, I could see them like biting that and trying to, you know, force the medic or something, but they didn't seem to be focusing the medic, and then they just kind of lost a bunch of people, and then their combo didn't even back up far enough to survive, so a little miscoordination from them, or maybe just thinking they could muscle their way in when they couldn't.
Quite sloppy, but then again, they did book 2 scrims at the same time.
Wow.
Wow. think only Ark's at fault there.
So now rolling out to another mid. This is the first mid I actually properly get on stream. We have a quick bomb from both the Xensity's, or Vector soldiers, but Tony Swan completely shutting down Mile High is going to put Xensity in a great position here. Ninja should just be running. Looks like everybody is just going to get caught. And he's taking a lot of damage. Gets ticked back down to 3 life, but eats a rocket, so he's down. That's a full wipe. And I'd expect to see Xensity move ahead. I guess they're just making sure that everybody's buffed. They get 2 pretty much no matter what they do here.
They all wanted cap points.
Yeah, Tic Tac actually jumps back to get the cap points. I guess he's gunboating now, so it's okay. Now he's going to get these as well. I'm on the cap point cam right now. And now, full Uber advantage. Looks like they're going to opt to move through lobby. Off-classing from Vector is just Thrickster on heavy, so let's see if the crit buff can be enough for Vector to make any kind of defense here. But as always, defending with no Uber against an Uber is a difficult feat. Here's the jump, forces the Uber, but that soldier should die quick. And actually, nice kills. 2 kills going in the way of Vector, thanks to a sticky trap and rockets from Miles. So fairly even frags here. Vector at low health, but they're getting the kills that they need. Only Hero and Tony Swan left up. Hero is at point, but he gets stuffed by a rocket and can't even jump. So just Tony Swan is looking to make a play onto the medic. Gets him to half health, but doesn't manage to do anything more. So now Vector, they seem a little unsure of the spawns. I guess they weren't watching because they're leaving Mile High on last, but you should still be able to take 2 in any case. Xensity trying to contest, but I don't think they're going to be able to get enough presence.
They really should get punished for playing this aggressively against the team with Uber. Instead, Vector hesitates and doesn't really take it into them.
Yeah, and they actually lose a few people. Now, I think Ninja he's not going to get forced, but they bled their team. I mean, they could have just walked forward with a soldier into them on choke, and now they're going to have to pop on last, or drop on last, as the case may be. And that's not exactly the way you want to play your 4 versus nothing while you have Uber. They could have moved a lot faster, and then they could have used the Uber rather than dying.
Yeah, I believe every single person on their team died without that Uber getting popped. So both teams quite indecisive with their Ubers and not quite taking them in quick enough.
Yeah, now we roll out to another mid here. Let's see if the Vector does the same play. I'm watching just the soldiers. Looks like they walk up to point, then they make a bomb, and they actually catch Xensity balled up around their garage that time. So effective soldier jump, trading the demo for a soldier. And low health, really low health on Xensity, but they have the numbers, so Vector does a good job of controlling the health packs. Tony Swan manages to pick up Ninja from behind, but Blinky died in the midst of that in-house, and that's just Arc and Solid Snake's spawn with the scouts from Vector surviving, and they actually already have this cap. But they're standing on it? Okay, now they realize that they can't.
Solid is alive.
Yeah. I feel like 2 scouts, they could have moved a lot quicker there, but Solid does have a trap on 2, so now with these spawns, I'd expect them just to move back. It'd be stupid to die here, and that's what they're going to do. They're just going to peace out at 2. Wait for their team and maybe make a move with the buffs. But even situation here, so let's see if Vector opts for some kind of play to maybe get onto the medic, maybe get a frag so that their push is a little more open, or I'm not sure what they're going to do. I'll just check if they're crits real quick, because that would be a good decision here, but they're still on Uber, so just going to opt for a standard Uber versus Uber push from the looks of things. And both teams building.
What do you think about pushing on this map? Is this a map where you really want to create an advantage, or are you comfortable just going evenly and hoping to turn an advantage with the Uber?
Well, it's certainly easier than Granary to go, in my opinion, but I found it's very difficult when you're just Uber versus Uber to get on them quick enough. So if you can slow push in through choke and you don't have to pop too early, it's not too bad, but oftentimes they'll just get forced by rollers, and then your pocket will have to jump forward and pop them. And did we pause? Yeah, we did, so I get to monologue for a bit. I actually don't mind pushes from flank on this area, because you can get a lot closer, and you can get damage on whoever's watching it, and it's generally safer, because when you move your medic out through the choke here, you tend to take a lot of spam, and it's not a great angle for a soldier to attack. We're unpaused here. So I don't know. I haven't seen too much in the way of suiciding on this map, but it's a pretty easy mid to hold from a repush, so maybe like a single bombing soldier wouldn't be a bad idea here. What do you think?
Well, I also agree with what you said on the choke. When we're on defense, I really like sort of just Ubering into them as they're trying to come through that choke, because it's pretty hard to get through there without eating a lot of spam. And if they do try to bring in multiple people, thinking that you're just holding back, you can easily get a lot of damage on the Uber, and you can just push back. So pushing through choke is kind of hard, but I don't know. It seems like xensity is quite mad that Vector's trying to build an advantage here.
Oh man, and they have a really bad push. They try to Uber through choke, but the Uber gets popped too late, and Schwann drops. Now we have Vector kind of reeling. I'm amazed that Ninjanik's still alive, but that's not for long. He's dead. Mile High jumping behind, but there's a scout right on him, so he's going to go down in short order, I would imagine. Yeah, there he goes down to Tony Swan, so... Vector kind of with an odd play there. It's as if they were deciding what to do, and then they decided to just push, but then they... I mean, we talked about how difficult the push is going through that choke because of all the spam you take, and then they did that and executed it poorly, so that's going to send them back to last from the looks of it.
I think xensity just used some psychological warfare on them,
Oh man, I didn't see that sticky trap, but Blinky died.
Xensity's sort of fighting with words and raging Vector, and they sort of didn't execute that well. But that sticky trap was not really that well placed, but I guess nobody really checked it. It was just out in the open on point.
Oh. Well, that's interesting. So that picks off the medic. That does give Blinky the opportunity to switch to crits here. And he's sitting in spawn for a while, so... Oh, that's the pause.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe Blinky threw his headset down in rage after he ate that trap. He's like, nobody checked it! But, no. Vector could make a move
Surprised
here.
they didn't start pushing earlier.
Yeah, both teams have been really slow when they...
yeah, so I mean, now they push Max alive. So now... It's going to be hard to kill stuff.
Yeah, and Thrickster's not even with them. He's heavy on last, so it's like they only have 4 people actually at this point after Mile High is dead. So xensity could just collapse on them, and that looks like what's going to happen. They're just way outnumbered. They were slow with the Uber. Mile High died while the Uber was going on because he was jumped ahead, and Thrickster was never even an equation in that fight. I mean, I've seen Vector play. They always do this. They leave somebody on last, a lot of the time when they make these kinds of pushes, and I really hate teams that play like that because you can just cover all doors, and the only thing that you can get backcapped by is a spy. But
even if you do get backcapped, I mean, what's the big deal? If you stay on last, you're gonna lose it eventually. Having a complete Uber advantage like that is as good as it's gonna get in terms of pushing out successfully. So you shouldn't be afraid to just commit to that.
Yeah, a paradigm I like to embrace when talking about that is your objective is to win the round. Your objective is not to hold last as long as possible. Anyways, as we go to another mid here, Vector kind of just getting mopped up. I didn't see what the Vector soldiers did. I assume it was that aggressive jump again, but they all went down. Ninjanik still alive, but I think he's got somebody maybe who can jump him. It's a scout on him, and that's going to clean him up. So if xensity plays their cards right, I don't know why they're combos on mid. I guess the scouts are chasing the medic, which is okay. They'll be a bit slow coming into last, but they have a really big window of time while they have Uber, and xensity doesn't, or Vector doesn't. And actually, Vector's going to struggle to even get buffs in time, because Ninjanik still dead from that really late death after mid, so Vector's mid biting them this round, and it'll be a miracle if they manage to hold this point. Blinky popping the Uber. Solid Snake does go down in exchange for Thrickster. That's a good trade for Vector, but a lot of damage going out. You can see Schnell and Mile High extremely lit, so gonna be... it's close. Actually, the frags coming in for Vector, so that Solid Snake kill right at the start of the Uber really causing them problems. Nice job from Arc there, but it's just Solid Snake spawn, so Vector, if they have forward momentum, they can take this point quickly. They're not going... Yeah, it's not too bad. See, now they're moving forward with everybody. They should get this. xensity might be able to put up a contest, but Blinky's not there to buff everybody in, so it's kind of dangerous. Although, Dougie G kind of goes out alone and almost dies, and actually does die, so... He went up to deny choke, and maybe thought he had a scout with him, but the scouts loop back to cap, so that'll open the door for xensity to take this back right away. Did I see crits? Yeah, it's crits again for Zen.
And when you're recapping 2 without your medic, you really want to play on the defensive side, I think. You know, I don't think there's much of a reason for that demo man to die there, given that xensity didn't really even come in to 2 except for the lone scout.
Yeah. Well, I think that play makes a lot more sense on Badlands, but the topology of this map, like, you can easily throw sticks from the thingy, the point, the choke. But anyways, we have the crits coming into last, and this time Vector not going to survive with a charge against no charge. They're getting cleaned up, and that's going to be the round. So xensity, strong mid, screws up the push on last. Vector screws up the retake of 2 with their demo man dying, and then xensity just takes it home with the crits advantage. And that brings us to the end of the first half.
So Vector's not really giving themselves much of a chance by wiping so badly on mids. And given that this is a lower bracket elimination game, do you think that they'll start giving up mid, or would you like to see them try to change something up?
That's definitely a play that would come to mind, and with the kind of careful way Vector plays, I don't think I've ever seen them actually do that, where they totally give mids. I think maybe we'll see one different mid, and then if they're gonna do it, they do it at the last part, but I don't know, it's a rough situation for them. Like, really, they need, you know, one good mid here to get their confidence back, and when they put it to 3-2, I mean, I'm sure they'll feel a lot more comfortable, but right now they must be feeling like they really need to make something happen. So I'm watching Tony Swan in this mid. He slides up top, probably just looking to deny that soldier bomb that Vector's been doing. Let's see if they manage to do it this time. Scout gets caught out, some damage from the soldier and Tony finishing him off. And now Vector kind of looking like they're making no moves forward. Dougie G gets caught out alone. I see a soldier from Vector moving up, but he's dead as well, so kind of staggered. I'm not sure why their demo was so far up, or maybe it was just their combo not moving quickly enough, but they totally got caught. Now Ninja Nick, 93%, getting jumped by everybody. He's surely going to die, and now it's just Thrickster alive. So I'd expect him to see Thrickster maybe off-classing, but actually he's already hiding at 2, so looks like he sees the edge of the medic, going in for a play, gets him down, 51 health, looks like Blinky's not going to pop Thrickster. Oh, can't quite finish the kill, so nice milk from Blinky there. Good attempt from Thrickster. That's really what they needed to get back into this round, because it's going to be very difficult for them to do anything at last against an Uber. Although they did hold it successfully once, so I mean, maybe they can do it again. Maybe they're going to bomb somebody to try to force, who knows.
Yeah, Vector soldiers were extremely passive that mid. I don't know if they were maybe waiting for someone from xensity to go crazy and try to bait them in, but xensity played that really nicely. They just took ground, they took pot shots at a scout at long range, and eventually they wore somebody down without any support from the soldiers.
Yeah, now we have the Uber from xensity coming into point. All kinds of frags going down to Vector. That's kind of what you'd expect out of an Uber versus non-Uber push. Maybe not quite so drastic as 6-0, but yeah, that's what I thought we would see a few rounds before, because that's typically how it goes. You just get mopped up, they run on point, and you die. So now, one round from elimination out of playoffs is Vector Gaming. As you were saying, maybe they won't go to mid, or maybe they're just gonna try something different. I'm not sure if they have extra plays planned for this map, or what the deal is going to be. Again, we have xensity's scouts taking the high ground. Soldiers from Vector jumping towards their health pack, now making an aggressive jump, but Art gets in onto the medic, picks him off. Blinky's gone down as well, so it's not quite so bad for Vector, but they have almost all players dead, and now getting cleaned up. A couple frags coming out late from Schnell and Thrickster there, so at least they have that. They won't get rolled with Uber and last, and they put some cap time on, so xensity actually going to be slow capping this, and with Ninja Nick's close spawn, I think Vector will be able to defend 2 here, so we'll see if xensity does their patented aggression and pushes forward before their medic gets there, possibly leading to them getting caught, or what
Blinky's
will
also on
transpire.
crits.
Blinky critting a lot this game.
Yeah, I really like that xensity is using the crits a lot in these situations, and I think Vector could have benefited from that a lot. The few rounds that they did win mid, they did lose their medic, and switch to crits could have kept their momentum going.
Yeah.
Instead, they sort of they stayed on Uber and they delayed their push, and ended up losing that soldier.
Here comes a crits in on Solid Snake. He pops the sticky trap. He gets popped. Crit's not popped yet. A little slow, but I mean, They still have a great position there. Dougie G goes down, Blinky goes down, but that trades with both the soldiers from Vector, so that should secure the cap. Now Vector is going to have some hard decisions to make. They've got Uber. Are they going to get their spawns and go? Are they going to get forced perhaps by xensity pushing into last? It looks like xensity going to be a little aggressive on last, so we'll see. I wouldn't mind seeing them just pop here and kill a bunch of people, and it looks like that's going to be the play, but they need to go to 2, because if they sit on last, it's going to be a crits or something coming back in. They pick off Tic Tac, who's heading to back cap, but they're still kind of clustering around their point. They're not going to win this match by sitting on their last, although, you know, it is a nerve-wracking situation. If they eat a back cap here, then their playoff run is over, so maybe they're just looking to stall a push out and get more of an advantage than just one pick and having buffs already on your team and then move off of that, but I don't really like it. I would have rather seen them push off that soldier kill.
Yeah, I actually thought Tic Tac was going to go sniper there, because we've seen him do that in their Viaduct match, I believe. And, whoa, trolled by ESA.
Oh my god, so xensity wins, obviously, because there's no way that Vector won 4 rounds in a minute and a half. But
Wow.
ESA.
ESA'd.
Yeah, too.
That's that. Alright, so
I'm guessing
I still have the
people
frag
died.
monitor running, so Dougie G gets 2 kills at this point. Well, not yet. He's going to get 2 kills soon. And by soon, I mean a minute and 30 seconds in the future. I'll try to tell what's going on. Okay, he got one of the kills. I can only tell one person who's getting frags, so that's all we got. And now Tony Swan with 2 frags after Dougie G got his 2 frags. It only updates. And there's Solid Snake with another 2 frags, so that's what happened, is Dougie G got a few kills coming in, but then Tony Swan picked off 2 people, and Solid Snake also picked off 2 people, so it's probably like 4v something. Schnell manages to pick up, looks like, 2 kills as well, so I think that's the last ditch defense, is him killing 2 people, but there's still 2 alive from xensity, and Tic Tac gets 2 frags to finish it off, so that's 2 for Tony, 2 for Solid Snake, 2 for Tic Tac. I imagine probably Tic Tac and Blinky living on point, and that calls the end of the match, so there's your by radio command line shoutcasting for the end of the game. And GG.
Oh, yeah, cool. Oh, all the other matches are already over. Gonna cast it open.
Well, are they? That sucks.
Yeah.
So I guess we never got to do predictions, but I only jumped in like the second round. I meant to do it during downtime, as Cade suggested, but whoops. Didn't get there. So, kind of sad to see Vector go like that. I think they could have been manlier in some of their pushes, and that may have given them a few more rounds, but xensity they were playing the critses really well, and they were also fragging really well. I mean, that's what you expect out of xensity, is the good frags. I like the crits movement, and I kind of feel like Vector just got outplayed in that regard. So they didn't move aggressively enough pretty much all the time, and xensity did, so. And even when Vector tried to make aggressive pushes, like that one where they just they waited for a bit, and then they didn't have any advantage, and they maybe got goaded in by xensity telling them to push their yard, it didn't go well, so. Rough game for Vector, but still an entertaining match, so hopefully it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was kind of strange how they were sort of really patient in that push, but then they didn't consider, not going to mid, because that was really just destroying them. They were losing their medic, and xensity was keeping theirs up. That's basically round over at that point, unless you got a lot of frags, which they really didn't.
Yeah, or at least if the frags happen slow and you lose your medic, you can still salvage, because if you can show presence at 2 with your combo, then it's reasonable that you can force them on a choke somewhere and then just back up to your last and give 2. But if it's happening so quickly like it was to Vector, where they lose their entire team and they're losing their 2 without having any opportunity to force the enemy team, then pretty much you see what happens is they just get rolled on their last with the Uber, and there's not much that you can really do about that other than either die slower on mid or frag more on mid.
Okay, so instead of talking about this particular match, let's just go into a tangent. If you do get wiped, like you said, you can show your combo, but what other things do you think you can do on process to mitigate that? There isn't really that much room on 2 to hide somebody to try to get a pick on that medic.
You can try for a bomb out of battlements because it is close, but I don't really like that kind of play, because I feel like your best chance, if you're not able to actually show the combo and spam choke, is probably to just back up to your last, use a heavy, and then cycle using the top room to just try to keep enough buffs to maybe make some frags happen. And you're definitely not going to succeed that defense if you're already 6v5. So I think pretty much if you die that fast, you just have to hope for a miracle on last, but it's such a rough position. I think just the odds are higher of seeing that last defense succeed, because we did see it succeed once from Vector, at least in comparison to bombing a soldier or maybe a scout to get the pop. Because you can't really commit more than one person. If you commit 2 people and you get the pop, but they both die, then they're just going to run to last and kill you anyways, so it's tough.
Yeah, that's right. And one thing I would have liked to see xensity do is push a little bit faster when they had gotten those wipes, because they really sort of let Vector get their defense set up and get everybody buffed up, whereas I think the ones where they did fail their pushes, that was what caused them to fail, was they allowed Vector to get on the classes they wanted to be on and get all buffed up.
Yeah, it's actually a massive difference. Like, there was one round they had a late medic death on Ninja Nick, and if Zensity's combo had been moving forward the entire time, they could have just Ubered into last at the time Ninja Nick was spawning and had absolutely 0 crit buffs to deal with, and that would have just, totally fragged them the round. I think they still won that push. And I think the reason that their combo was so slow was because their scouts were the ones that chased that late medic kill, but so, I can't criticize it too much. But if possible, having your combo move quick and get in before the enemy team has buffs is the ideal situation. And that's actually an observation that really has less and less to do with this game, but something I'd like to see in extremely high-level TF2, and I don't know how many people consider this, or if anybody's really considered it before, but if you can push onto a last point that's tough to push at some kind of timing where you've disrupted the buff cycle of the enemy team, so that rather than coming into a roamer and scouts who have 300 and 185 health, you come in when the roamer is like 200 or 150, just through something like, or a heavy, say, who you manage to hit scan for 3 damage before you push, so the medic takes 6 seconds to heal him. You could do some kind of play like that. Say you're spamming, you take the crit buff off the heavy, you wait a bit because the medic has to heal whoever got spammed, and the heavy can't get a crit buff for 10 seconds, and then you push. Could be an interesting way to manipulate health, but that's a lot of thinking for something that often just boils down to, cycling in with an Uber, and if you get a good Uber, then you cap.
Yeah, but on the other hand, that amount of damage does equate to a pretty good rocket or two. A soldier eating a 100 damage rocket or a scout eating a 60 damage rocket, a pretty good shot. And if you can get that across multiple people, without doing anything before you push, it can make a difference.
Yeah, I guess especially so because you can make sure all the damage that you take when you're doing that spam is just directed onto your pocket, because your demo could just hide behind him and let him take all the rockets coming in, not take too much splash, and then you can just pop early on the door even if he gets low, so that you can push before they manage to recover. Because oftentimes, if you're spamming the team entering is going to take more damage than the team defending, obviously, because the team defending is spread out and the team entering is coming through a doorway where they're easy to hit. So there's that, but this is just stuff I think about. I haven't really been able to put any of it into practice.
Yeah, and another thing I was thinking about that sort of applied to this game, when Vector was holding mid, I think teams could do a lot more sort of modular pushes, and I guess I have to explain that. But you start it, and then you react differently based on what happens during the start. Like you jump a soldier in when you have mid and the Ubers are even, and if his jump goes really well, like if he forces the Uber and doesn't take too much damage, then you can sort of bring the rest of the team in with a full Uber push. But if it doesn't go well, then you can sort of just back up and allow them to try to push 65, which is still, not too bad for you when you're holding mid.
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of plays like that from EMG on Badlands back in the day, where they just jump Mackie to Spire, and then, if something good happened, they'd commit their combo.
Yeah, and it's very similar to the idea of the half push that we saw on Viaduct that we casted previously, where you open up with the aggression, and if it goes well, you can follow up with a full push, and if it doesn't, you really don't lose anything, especially on Viaduct where your spawn's 5 seconds and you're not capping anyways when you're out of control.
Yeah, it's just a different way to push than from leading with your Uber, and potentially safer. If you don't get your Uber popped, it's pretty easy to just get that spawn back because the Uber essentially affords you 10 seconds, or 9 seconds technically. Well, nothing is going to happen in the fight, and that's just time for your spawn to get back in. So it's easy to hold when you have spawn advantage in that situation. Do we have any questions or comments from the stream chat that you'd like us to address? Well, as we're winding down here, kind of. Or anything else you'd like to talk about, Sephi, while we wait for the stream chat to get that message?
I don't know. I guess that about covered it.
All right.
Unfortunately, there wasn't too much to talk about that match other than don't get wiped at mid.
Yeah. This cast was also my apology to Vector for ditching out of casting their match halfway through yesterday, so I decided to miss the start and then cast the rest of a match today. So there you go. It all balances out.
Yeah, and hopefully Vector still stays together. I think they got at least a little bit better.
I'm sure they will. Vector has stayed together for a really long time, and all of those guys are, pretty nice guys. Like, I like hanging out with all of them pretty much, so maybe a couple of roster changes will happen. I mean, that's just standard for TF2, but as far as I know, they have no intentions to switch things up or break up as a team, which is a testament to them. Good job. Sticking together is what TF2 needs.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see them at the top of IM next season.
Yeah, along with us, right? Ugh, eat it, Vector. We're going to beat you.
Oh, that seems like nobody has any questions.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn the stream off then. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Oh, we have
here's a question. Yes.
Yes.
That's a judgment call.
It's really hard to tell sometimes it's obvious, like when you Uber in and then you drop your pocket in your demo in front of you and you're getting juggled at choke. I speak from experience. I've done this before. It's better to just kill yourself than wait to die. Or when you get stuck behind the enemy team through some mispositioning, you just kill yourself. But when you're running away from a mid like that and you have, 80, 90% Uber, you kind of feel like, oh man, maybe I can get away and we can hold. But because at the point where you're getting chased, you may as well just try to run because you have a chance of getting away. Obviously, it would have been better if you just hit kill while he was still on mid, but it's difficult to tell at that point whether or not you're going to be able to make it. And
I feel like Well, the majority of the time it's better to try to live, because if you type kill and you respawn slightly faster, maybe you have slightly higher Uber when you're holding last, but you're still holding last at an Uber disadvantage. It's really, if their medics stayed up, it's a question of buffs or not buffs, which, makes a difference, but not nearly as much of a difference as if you do manage to stay alive, and that actually probably allows you to hold too.
Yeah. And actually a comment I can put to that direction is a lot of those mids, I feel like Vector's medic could have avoided dying if you just played a lot more passive. And you might say, okay, it's bad to play really passive as medic on mid because then you can't commit to winning the point and you're just going to get spammed in a choke. But a lot of those mids they lost at the same time. It was pretty clear that they were at a disadvantage early on. And I can't deny the fact that if you lose a scout quickly, you can still commit and win mid sometimes. And if your medic commits with you, you're going to have a better chance of winning mid. But the way I almost always play those situations, if I see somebody die or we see really low health early on, is even if we still deem it worth it to not just back out a mid immediately, like if the pick's not on our demo or something like that, I'm just going to play really slow as medic so that I can guarantee that I can run if things are going bad. And by doing so, I decrease our chances of winning mid. But I feel like the amount of times that we still lose there, or the amount of times we can turn that into a play where we can just kill their medic and I can run, is worth it to, overall win more rounds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that also sort of plays to that thought of the modular push where, say you're losing a lot of mids, but you still want to try to fight it. You can keep your medic really passive, which, you normally wouldn't do on a mid, but if you're losing a lot of them anyways, you can try to get some aggression going, and then if it doesn't go well, you can just, your med's already there to get out. But if your early aggression does go well, then you can just commit the medic.
Yeah, you can essentially, to some extent, abuse the metagame where medics have to be very aggressive on mid, because to win the mid point, it's best if you as a medic get focused, because then more fragging classes are up for your team than theirs because they weren't focusing your fragging classes while they were focusing you. And basically give them the midpoint by suiciding their medic. But if your medic lives, then you have a chance to make an Uber push onto mid. And I mean, most teams would prefer to have mid and not have Uber, but if you're losing mids anyways, it's a play to consider. Just, bomb both soldiers in a scout and kill their medic. Make sure your medic lives, get way the heck out, especially in process. You have to get way back because you can get jumped easily at 2. And then just use your Uber advantage. Give yourself something in the round. I mean, the spawn advantage might be better, but if you can't get it because you can't win mid, then maybe try something a little bit different. And it's very, very difficult for the enemy medic to survive when you make a kind of play like that. If you're not able to kill their enemy medic when he's committing to a fight, when you're purposefully bombing 3 or 4 people on him, then you're just probably too outclassed in that game.
Yeah, I feel like that's sort of the preferred mid play that the old EMG used to do back when it was Mackie playing, or he would really sort of focus on the enemy medic. And, if EMG loses mid but keeps their medic alive, they're really okay with that because, as long as they keep Banny up, even if Mackie fails, Banny's going to get some sort of pick as the other team tries to push. And, they just felt like they were such a superior team that they just wanted to give themselves as many chances to have exchanges instead of getting wiped at mid and pretty much auto-losing the round.
Yeah, that's a concept that reaches into many games. Is logically, the best player will make better decisions or better actions over the course of a larger period of actions. Say, if we fight an engagement in some game where one decision occurs and I make it correctly 60% of the time and you make it correctly 40% of the time, then I'll still win more than you will. But if there's 2 decisions and it's the same ratio, then I'll win proportionally more. I'll win 76% or something like that. So basically, if you feel you're better than the other team, then drawing things out is to your advantage. Although, if you're in equal circumstances, then maybe focusing the medic is not the best because they can take mid, and if they can play a mid defense without Uber better than you can play a mid retake with Uber, you might be in hot water.
Yeah, so that all depends. Like, you can use that in a situation where you feel like you're massively outclassed at mid, but on the other hand, you could also use it in a situation where you think that, you know, you're so good that you just want to give yourself as many chances as possible. But I don't really know if that latter situation really applies if you're on a team without Banny, for example.
There you go. So that's your tip for the night. Play with Banny. Makes things easier.
Yeah, I guess all that discussion spawned out of that one question.
Yeah,
So,
good question. Do we have any others? I mean, I'll chill for a bit with the stream on here. So if there's anybody else who wants to talk about something, then we can talk about it. But I don't have too much to say other than that. If you weren't watching earlier or didn't see any forum posts, well, thanks, Defiance. I will be streaming more scrims, probably like every day that we're scrimming, which is Sunday to Thursday. And then, of course, I'll be casting matches when I get the chance, whenever we're not scrimming or when there's a match before or after. Probably check it out. And probably for things like the IM finals, I'll probably just not scrim and cast it if I'm not on an XTV stream for that already. So
Sigma's ditching me.
Yeah, man. So hopefully you tune into that stuff. Should be good. But I guess that's enough chances unless somebody's typing out a 3-line question, so I'm going to turn off the stream for now. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, everybody.